Wow. Oh, I don't even know what to say. I do know what to say, but I have a lot to say. Thank you. Thank you. That's it. Gemar Hatima Tova. I am honored and a little nervous to speak to you on this highest of high holy days. To prepare, I watched a half dozen other pitches from previous years, all very moving, very funny, and confident. They are really tough acts to follow. But I thought, if I mess up, this is Yom Kippur, so I can tank this speech and atone for it all at the same time. As many of you know, I am a supremely new, wet from my mikvah Jew. So I Googled some stuff for confidence. Hey Google, how do you say Happy Yom Kippur in Hebrew? Hey Google, why is it not okay to say happy before Yom Kippur? Hey Google, is it Kippur or Kippur? I'm a Texan by birth, a Southern Baptist by accident, Californian by employment, and a Jew by choice. But my membership at IKAR is neither accidental nor by choice. It was, well, bashert. Yes, I Googled bashert. In the Zohar, it says humans are created from wholeness, but the soul is divided at birth. Life's purpose is to reconnect with that missing part, to find your soulmate, your bashert. And that's what I feel in every encounter I have with this extraordinary community. I'm not typically a booster, but my journey to IKAR follows an arduous, lifelong odyssey for connection, and my path has looked a little bit like spiritual polyamory. I was a born-again evangelical Christian as a kid, and then I came out of the closet, yay, at 19. And so I moved in with Jesuits. To become a Catholic priest in my late 20s. But I took liberation theology, and I left the rest of that religion behind. I went to West Africa in my 30s. Oh my God, I love these drums. I went to West Africa in my 30s, and I heard Babatunde Olatunji say, "Stop playing the drum. Let the drum play you." I drank a lot, and then I got sober at 42. I've trained with some of the greatest teachers of liberation arts, and I've led workshops all over the world, and still I felt disconnected. At 51, I took another plunge, and I became a foster parent with the intention to adopt first one, then two, and then finally, surprise, three stunning children. They are here with me today. There's Amara. And I think Obi is probably running around outside, and Amari's upstairs. They are blessings. They are my whole life. And yet, when COVID threw a wet blanket over our world, and after we spent the better part of a year in masked isolation on endless Zoom screens and spraying every Instacart grocery bag with alcohol, even though we stayed safe, I still felt untethered. I had no people. I had no community that held my soul. I had no connection, no bashert. In West African Igbo culture, there's a phrase I learned from the late, great Chinua Achebe. Ifekulu, ifakudobiya. Roughly, if one thing stands, another stands beside it. Who did we have standing beside us? Deuteronomy has a parallel passage. Atem nitzavim hayom kulechem lifnei Adonai Elohechem. You stand today, all of you, before God. Kol ish Yisrael. Every person of Israel. Every person, period. Throughout time. Echad. We are all one. It was in my period of COVID isolation that I read a random inspirational message on a billboard. For every question, there is an answer. And I had this epiphany. I realized, yes, I believe exactly the opposite. For every answer, after all, there are at least 2 or 3 questions, maybe more. And that's when I realized, I think I'm a Jew. I reached out to my Jewish Jubu friend and told him I was thinking about converting to Judaism. And after a few minutes trying to talk me out of it, he said, well, with your family, there's only one place I could recommend. He introduced me to IKAR, and after a fabulous Zoom with Rabbi Brauss, I realized IKAR was this truly unique community who were holding a dialogue between the written word and the embodied living experience of this world. That was about 5 years ago. And since then, IKAR has been for me both a revolution and a revelation. It feels like a deep soul encounter, a union, a reunion, a tshuva. You better bet I Googled that. I dove deep into the spiritual marriage and I dunked me and my kids into this extraordinary relational mikveh. The water wasn't as warm as I remembered from my preteen baptism, but the community was far warmer. I volunteered here and there. I trained to become a dinner and dialogue facilitator. I brought my kids to Limudim, and we all ramped up our Hebrew on Duolingo. I shared a Devar Torah on, of all things, the Akedah, that father-son telenovela, and I learned how to be with my own father as he lay dying of COVID in Texas. Rabbi Morris was our conversion guide, and now he had become my impromptu grief counselor, my Yoetz Evel, coaching me on the phone as I entered my father's Texas hospital room in my hazmat suit, holding his hand and reciting the Vidui. What language is that? My father asked as he struggled to breathe. Hebrew, I said. And my deeply conservative, homophobic, Baptist, MAGA father gripped my hand and said, well, that's beautiful. It was our last exchange, but it was a good one. A moment of light and surrender, a moment that would never have happened without IKAR. IKAR held me and my family through our Shiva. It brought us food, and my family and I learned how to sit on the floor, heal, and keep my father's memory alive. That period was, as I have learned from Rabbi Brauss, a profound amen effect. IKAR remains a constant amen effect. On October 7th, 2023, I sat here in this shul as news of the horrific events unfolding in Israel hit our congregation. People were collapsing in tears, but our rabbis held courageous space. In the weeks, months, and years since, IKAR has come together bravely, courageously, fiercely, leading with love. As the late, great bell hooks remind us, love truly is a verb. I'm still weak on my Hebrew, and I may have gaps in my Jewish knowledge, but as a recent arrival, I have an outsider's perspective that gives me a unique appreciation of the immensely special gifts of Judaism and of IKAR's preservation and revitalization of our Jewish faith and community. This fulfillment of the message, this bashet. I see IKAR as a place of thoughtfulness, courage, action and grace under fire, of balance and complexity. When the world is tugging furiously towards binaries and divisiveness, IKAR is unique. And that's coming from a person allergic to hyperbole and cheerleading. I've been at USC for 31 years, and I've yet to throw a fight-on sign. But here I am, filled with this spirit of IKAR, enthusiastic, because I've never felt more fully that this community is the key to what the broken world needs at this time. This was the community that I felt safe to bring my mixed-race family to. This was the community I felt comfortable in as a queer person. This was the community that spoke up about the devastating impact of the overturning of Roe v. Wade. This was the place I came to hear nuance about Israel and Palestine. This is the place also of immense humor, where I can hear stories with the word fakakta on Purim, where laughter is life, even in the worst of times. Hey, Google, is fakakta a swear word? IKAR is the sanctuary of those seeking their own spiritual, political, personal bashert. And like all things valuable, it is worthy of our greatest support. Let me be your bashert guide. Let me evoke the teachings of the Zohar and serve as your stand-in new Jew yenta. Do you want to support the best relationship of your life? Do you seek a counter? She usually takes hers off. I don't know. Do you seek a counter-narrative to these completely fakakta times, this utter balagan of a world? It's so easy. Reach down at the end of your lanyard, open up your e-card, and take out your sticker. Now, look at it. If you got a vacation home, right? Pop another 0 or 2 after that. If you have kids and you care deeply about building a community for them and for our world, consider this their spiritual insurance policy. Consider it a call for nitzavim, to stand up together, to keep this extraordinary community, this vision for the future, alive and thriving. If you can't give in multiple digits, invest in IKAR as much as you might for a daily or even a weekly cup of gourmet coffee. Not a coffee drinker? No worries. You can volunteer. You can join circles. You can come daven in person or from afar. I don't believe in heaven or hell, but I believe that we're all on borrowed time, after which we join the realm of memory. I want you to know that I am giving my gift today in honor of my father, who felt the impact that IKAR has had on me in his own heart. Not for who he was, right? Or what he stood for, or how he voted, but for what he instilled in me that helps me support this community that reflects my values and helps change the world. For that, I truly believe my dad would be proud. And I didn't have to Google that. For my dad, Edward A. Blair, Zichrono Livracha, for all of us today, Gemar Chatima Tova.